I'm yeah, that's fine. No, turn them off. Is my face on me too? Yeah, I don't know where to put this.
Do us. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Writer Chef Night.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining. I want to say it might be a trilogy Bernie River party tonight. I think we have like 9 people on just from Trilogy. So you guys, thank you so much for joining. We love having you with us. And what are we making tonight?
Tonight, we're going to be making a Spanish paella. We're going to be making it a little different than the traditional paella.
Okay.
We're going to be making a Mexican sangria. Mexican sangria. Make that now and get it going so you can have it marinated. All the love, right? That's right. Because the more it sets, the more it gets the flavor.
Okay, we'll probably put that in early at this time.
We will. Yep. So first and foremost, as always, our mise en place.
Yeah.
Right? We got to make sure that everything is in its place. We got our chorizo. We have a nice hard chorizo here. We have our fresh Argentinian shrimp. I have already peeled and deveined that.
Okay.
Okay. I have our diced tomato. We got onions, bell pepper, some garlic, some parsley, and some lemon. First and foremost, what we want to do.
So this is the chorizo a little bit different. So if you can't buy the uncooked. We're buying something a little bit different here.
So traditional paella has mussels, clams, it's shellfish, and rice.
Okay.
Okay. Since one of our assistants is allergic to that, we had to stay away from it. We learned the hard way.
Okay.
So we took a spin on it, right? So mixing the chorizo with the shrimp and these other ingredients. So taking the traditional, kind of putting our own little spin to it, just to kind of jazz it up a little bit, but to keep it the same. So one thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we take our little chicken cubes, our bouillon cubes, our chicken stock, and we want to put it in water. What I've done is I've put it in a pot of water already, and we want to put our saffron on here. And what we want to do is we want to steep that saffron so we get the flavor of it. What I did was I put my bouillon cubes in, 3 cups of water, added my saffron, I brought it to a boil, and then I turned it off. The reason I brought it to a boil so we could help dissolve the bouillon cube, the chicken stock, but then also we extract the oils of the saffron to put that flavor in quick and fast, right?
So if you haven't done that yet,
that's what you get started
right now.
If you have peeled and deveined your shrimp already and you discarded your shrimp shells, that's okay. Today, I'm going to show you save those, because what I've done is I put my shrimp shells in a little bit of lemon, a bay leaf, just salt and pepper, and we're making a shrimp stock.
Okay.
So shrimp stock takes only about an hour to make.
Okay.
And you don't want to constantly boil. So what I've done is I just threw the shells in, I threw the lemon in there, I threw the
Okay, I already learned something.
salt and pepper, and I brought it to a boil, and then now we're just slowly simmering. So all we're doing is we're extracting the flavor of the shrimp out of the shells into the water, so we have a fortified stock.
Awesome.
So we'll use that into our paella, so we could really have a nice, robust flavor. Absolutely.
Excellent.
So we got that going. Let's get in. Let's dive
Do you
into.
have to do the rice first? Isn't that the long lead time item or no?
Well, the rice will get going. So we got to do a couple steps before we do that. So if we want to get sangria going, so that way you can marry and marinate.
Let's do
so
it.
when you make sangria, you typically want to do it and let it set for 24 hours, 8 hours minimum.
Okay.
But you really want it to set and, like Steve said, be able to get all the flavors that we're looking for. So we'll grab our ingredients. We got a nice large pitcher.
Perfect.
We're gonna have some red wine. We got some triple sec. I heard that we had some trials and tribulations with triple sec. All this is basically sugar water or simple syrup with orange zest in it. So if you didn't get triple sec, if you combine a half a cup of water to a half a cup of sugar, throw in some of the orange slices that we have, just squeeze the juice, throw them in there, bring it to a boil, let it simmer for 10 minutes. Boom, we'll be ready to go. You can add that right into your sangria.
Okay.
Yep. We got some orange juice, we got some rum, we got some soda, we got some fresh pineapple, we got some oranges, we got some sugar so we can sweeten up the wine a little bit. So what we want to do here is basically just add all of our ingredients. So we got our 3 cups of wine.
Perfect.
As you know, my measurement skills. Wine.
One bottle.
Be one bottle.
Cup of orange juice. I got a 1/4 cup of sugar here so we can help sweeten that up some.
Okay.
I got triple sec. We're going to add a half a cup. We're going to add a half a cup of spiced rum.
I don't think I've ever made sangria with spiced rum.
Or brandy.
Okay.
So either one. So if you're going to add the brandy, you might want to leave the sugar out because the brandy is going to be sweeter. Absolutely. Half a cup of that. And we're going to add our orange slices. For these, you can cut them however you want. You can cut them in whole slices, half slices. Since there's more than just one of us drinking it, I cut them in quarters. So basically just quarter the orange and then slice them down. Also, we're going to be able to get the orange flavor into our sangria faster because we've already broken it up so much.
Perfect.
Yeah. And we're going to add a liter of lemon lime soda. Actually, this one is after we go into our glass, so we'll hold off on that guy. So give it a stir there, Beth.
It's a little smaller.
Make sure you put down in the bottom to dissolve that sugar into there.
But you don't put ice in it because that's gonna dilute it, right?
Correct.
So would you throw
Just
it
throw
right?
right in the refrigerator, yeah. So since we are shorter on time, I have some fresh pineapple. You can use the frozen like we called in the recipe. The fresh is gonna have a much better flavor than your frozen.
Absolutely.
So we're just going to go ahead and add that in so we can incorporate that into that. When you're using the frozen pineapple, you don't really have to use ice because that can act as your ice, right?
That's perfect.
So if you want to put that into our refrigerator for right now,
Perfect.
let that set for a little bit. All right, and then what we got over here is we got a large, I'm going to use a pot instead of a skillet. Reason being is we're always cooking a little bit more than everybody else. So I want to make sure, what you want to make sure is you have a skillet or a pan that has a lid that's large enough that's going to be able to fit all of our ingredients. So we're going to turn this guy on nice and high. Turn our stock down just a little bit so it can simmer away. We're going to add our chorizo. And all we're doing here is we're just trying to crisp it up a little bit, but we're extracting the oil from it to get the fat out of there. We're going to use that fat instead of using more olive oil.
Gotcha.
Right? So just like bacon grease, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So we want to get that going nice and high. So like I was saying, when we're traditionally with paella, it's got clams, mussels, the shrimp, and then some sausage in there. And you're usually doing a gigantic dish of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's adding stock as you go. So when we were making the risotto, when we did the saffron risotto, so we cook the arborio rice and we keep adding our stock and keep adding liquid to it. So then that way that rice becomes creamy over the process of cooking.
Right.
So since we are using a hard chorizo and not a raw chorizo, right? This is going to be a better flavor than using the raw. The raw is going to break up and be like ground meat, and you don't really want to have that ground meat texture in our dish. We want to make sure that you get a nice chunk of chorizo when you take a bite. And you can cut it, you know, in coins, however you'd like. You know, I cut it down to be a little bit smaller like this so that way we don't have to divvy it out or separate it amongst everyone's dish. It'll be a little more evenly incorporated with it all, so that way you can just take a scoop of it when it's all done and then put it in our bowl and go from there. I was hesitant about doing that with the shrimp, but we want to make sure we leave our shrimps whole just for our end process for plating presentation. You can cut the shrimp down if you would like, so that way you get more pieces of shrimp.
Perfect. Yeah,
yep.
Absolutely.
So you see, so you see how fast that we get the oil out of here when we're cooking on high heat. And all we're gonna do is just crisp this up for probably 3 minutes, maybe. How's everyone doing so far? Anyone got any questions out there yet?
Everything started?
Yeah, we had some questions about the stock, but I was able to answer them.
Okay.
Make sure she answered them correctly. What was the question?
So you can see here that we've extracted a lot of that fat really quick and really fast, right?
Right.
So we want to be careful not to add any moisture. As you saw when I stirred our stock and put the water or stock into here, it starts to crackle and pop because it's not mixing with that oil. So we're not trying to get it hard like a bacon.
Right.
It's already has a firm texture to it. So we're just lightly crisping it up.
Yeah, I'm actually more surprised that there's not as much liquid as there is. I guess I wasn't sure because it's more of a firm instead of the ground. So it looks different to me.
Well, and you can see how much fat content there still is in there.
Right.
Because look how much we have in our
To work
pan.
with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So chef, it's a cured meat, right? It's not something
Yes, this is a cured, correct.
Right.
This is a cured sausage. The only reason we're starting with the chorizo with our paella today is so we can capture all that flavor. And then it'll keep our chorizo a little bit crisper when we go to add it with all the rest of the liquid.
So we do have a question. It says, I've had my saffron for a long time to deteriorate.
Whew. How long is a long time? Is it like a decade aged or like a year aged? So if it smells musty, like dust, then don't use it.
And when do you think it'll smell like dust? Is that a year or is that 2 years?
It depends. If it's been properly sealed, it might last that long. Yeah. So careful when
if
you're
it
adding that
smells
onion.
like dust,
Yeah,
you'll know.
you'll know just by the smell of it. It will be like, I don't think that's right. So we added our onion in here.
So if stored properly, maybe up to a year.
Yeah, even it could be even longer, right? So the little canister, like so. This is properly sealed. This will sit around for a while.
Okay.
It's dried. It's not doing anything. It's properly been manufactured, processed is the word that I'm looking for, so that way this can stay for quite a long time.
Right. Once that's open, then
Quite a few years. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
So if it was sitting in a bag, would be a little different.
Gotcha.
So once we got our onions started here,
Great question, though. Always good to know.
keeping our pan on high, so we're sauteing. Remember, saute is high heat, a little bit of fat. In this case, we got a little more fat, but that's not a big deal. It's called love. All right, so as you see our stock here, how we're just about even with the shells, a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let this ride for maybe just a couple more minutes, and we don't want to go too much further. If you're cooking it too fast and you're boiling it, you'll get a cloudiness to it, and we don't want that. So we just let that simmer. And like I said, shrimp stock takes 20 minutes. Like that's how fast it is. It's the beauty of it. All right, and we're gonna want to add our garlic.
Always love the garlic.
Oh yeah, these two together.
I know, it's amazing.
Yep. So when we're go ahead.
Sorry, when I was from stock, how many stock and beef stock?
So I would do like 2 to 1, 2 of the chicken to 1 of the shrimp. If you want more of a seafood flavor, do 2 of the shrimp to 1 of the chicken. You could do all, you could have thrown your, I would strain my stock and then add my saffron to that and let the saffron steep into it. And you could use just all shrimp stock if you wanted to. So it all depends on your flavor, what your palate, absolutely, what your palate is. So paella traditionally is a very strong seafood flavor. Clams and mussels are seafood, right? So you're going to get that flavor. From here, let's turn this guy off. Let's add our bell pepper. And our paprika. We're going to want to add our paprika right now so we can start getting that flavor into the dish. We really want to get that to come through, to blend with that saffron flavor.
And I feel like the cooking of it brings out that flavor so much more. So it's just a little bit at a time.
Absolutely. So like a sesame seed, a fennel seed, caraway seed, would be another one. Coriander.
Is that a sweet paprika or a smoked paprika?
This one is just a sweet paprika. You could use either one. Like we said, it all depends on the flavor profile you're looking for. So if you want that smokiness to it, by all means, add it in there.
Awesome. Thank you.
You got it. So while our bell peppers cooking real quick, let's strain our shrimp stock. So all that was just shrimp shells, a lemon, and a bay leaf, and that's it.
Wow,
A little bit of pepper.
amazing.
Yep. Get a stir going over here. So you can see when we added that paprika, it's starting to create kind of like a paste in the bottom.
Absolutely.
It's not going to necessarily thicken it at all, but you do want to make sure that we give it a good stir so that way we don't get any burnt spots around on the pan. Okay? So just as our onions about to be translucent, we're not looking for it to be cooked all the way because we're still quite a bit of process to cook, right?
Exactly.
So right now, let's get our shrimp and add it. And we're not trying to cook this through either. Remember, we're going to be cooking it for a while because our rice has to cook.
Exactly.
So all we're going to do is basically give this a nice light saute, kind of get the cooking process started. So we're not poaching it fully, right? So to poach would be to cook in liquid, fully submerged in liquid would be poaching.
Right.
So what is it we use?
I used a pound. How many were in there? Roughly 20. Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, if you want more shrimp, you could cut them in half. It all depends. I left a bowl so when we go to plate, we can utilize that as our presentation.
Right. Very smart.
Right. So when you're doing dinner parties and you want to think about the application, how am I going to plate this up? What's it going to look like? How am I going to present this to my guests? That's why we always talk about how big or how small we cut our vegetables. Right. What's our end product going to look like? That's something that we want to, focus on while we're preparing. All right, so right there, we're just going to take a spoon of broth so we can kind of deglaze the pan a little. So that way all this love that's stuck on the bottom there is now incorporated into our dish. And we're going to want to add our rice. And we have the paella rice. So it's very, very similar to our barrio. So we're going to add a little more barrio since we got more to feed.
And this is a different process, so it's interesting to see you process it differently than our other cooking process.
Yes, because this is a dish where you cook it all together. Right. And it's something that, traditionally we would add all these ingredients into into a vessel like this guy. And then that way you just get it all there, put your lid on, and pop it in the oven. Right. Let it do its thing, and then you pop it off and it's ready to go. Right.
Right. But ours, we need a little bit bigger tonight.
Yep. Ours, we need a bigger vessel. So this was barely going to fit in that one pan there. So now that we got all of our rice in, we did a nice stir so that way the oils have coated it all. If you feel like you need a little bit more oil, feel free to go ahead and add a little more oil. We were able to extract enough oil or fat out of our chorizo that we shouldn't have to add any more.
So if I felt like I needed to add oil, what kind of oil would I add?
Just olive oil would work just fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Where's our? Just for fun. Exactly. 1 cup.
Well, how did that work out?
Doing it a couple times.
I was going to say you might have done that before.
So we've added the 1 cup of shrimp stock. Want to give it a good stir. We're going to want to add a little more liquid to this right now. And then we'll just keep adding liquid as it goes.
And are we cooking that? Are we on high heat?
We are still on high heat.
Okay.
So that's about a half a cup more. Now we're getting that saffron in there.
Yeah.
So the saffron was in the chicken stock?
Correct. And the only reason I did the shrimp stock was because I thought, what a great opportunity to teach, you know, these things that we just throw in the trash all the time, great flavor.
Right.
You can freeze those, and then you have these little bouillon cubes that are in your freezer. So you can do the same thing with chicken stock. Remember we talked about making chicken stock with our leftover rotisserie chickens and stuff. So when you do that, it's just popping it out, and you're gonna make let's say we're gonna do salmon. We got some grilled salmon or some roasted salmon. Take one of those little cubes of your shrimp stock into a pan, heat it up, throw some butter into there. You could add a little cream if you wanted to. Then you have a nice, real sauce.
Right.
Yeah, that you're able to complement your salmon.
How do you save saffron threads? I just bought a lot in Turkey and I want them to last.
Vacuum seal it.
Okay.
Portion them out and sell them.
Perfect. I'll do that.
So as you see, we're thickening up.
Right. Just
We
gonna
want
keep it more.
to add a little more in there, yeah. Because we're going to want to put the cover on. Because with this process, it's very, very similar to making risotto. So we're doing this style stovetop. A lot of times, like I said, you add all your liquid into it, cover it, and you just finish it in the oven. And you kind of let it do its thing. You might have to poke at it once to give it a little stir because the outside's going to cook more than the inside. Right here, since our time frame is a little different, cooking it faster, right? So we're wanting to make sure we're able to get that done. So we're going to slap a lid on it. We're going to turn the heat down just slightly, not by a lot, just a little bit.
Got it.
By putting the lid on, it captures the steam in there, so it helps cook it a little bit faster.
Gotcha.
All right. Let's plate up a sangria.
All right.
Let you tell us how it goes.
Going to freeze that.
Driver has to come in for the taste.
Okay,
We better get two of those.
We might get two of those.
So let's ice in those guys.
Right?
All right. Well, just making sure we're excited.
So this one we're gonna do just a little bubbly. About a third of the glass.
Is that 7-Up?
Basically, yep.
Lemon lime, okay.
7-Up.
7-Up, Sprite, lemon lime.
Anything? Oh, what about a bagel? We want to use this guy so that way we get your fruit in there.
Oh, now this reminds me of a story many years ago when I was with a friend of mine named Kevin. And we went to the Run of the Bulls and we made this and left it in the car for 3 days. When
A little bit stronger.
When we came back, woo, it was pretty strong to say the least.
Yeah.
Of course, we still had to drink it. That's when you're in your younger days where you can't let it go bad.
You made some of that backseat moonshine.
Oh, that's exactly what it was. And that's for Patsy if she's on tonight listening. Hi, Patsy. Remember, your other daughter was there too. All right, are we going to try it?
I went ahead and did you the honor.
Oh,
Make it
look
fancy.
at
Have
this.
a nice little pineapple there.
All right. So we're going to have a little toast and cheers to all of you. Enjoy.
Cheers. Thank you for joining us. Let's try it.
great. Fantastic.
It's tasty. Boy, you look cuter and taller.
Awesome. To me, much better than lots of extra alcohol. That's going to be our one for the pictures at the end.
Ooh, so I did was just took a look at our paella here. As you see, we're already losing a lot of moisture. So let's go ahead and add some more.
How does everybody like their cocktail? Did you guys try it yet? I love red wine, so to me it was amazing.
Yes, it was awesome.
Good.
Thankfully, I got the delivery early enough to let it sit for 6 hours.
There you go.
Look at you. Good job.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so what I've done is I've added enough liquid so that way it's basically even with our product in there. So that way we could put the lid back on and let it do its thing for a little bit.
Perfect.
So you can add your chorizo in right now if you want.
Okay.
I'm still debating. I think I want to leave it till the very end. We'll probably put some in, but I want some on the end. I want some of this crispy chorizo when we plate because I like to diversify the entree itself by adding a little bit of crunch, adds a little bit of texture, takes your dish to the next level. So when we are thinking about these things, what makes great dishes? Heights, color, shapes, textures. So when you can incorporate all those different things, then you take just a basic rice and seafood and chorizo bowl and then elevate it to the next level by adding those different depths of the texture, the flavors, the profiles completely different.
Right.
If you were to add your chorizo back in here, you want to remember you are going to add more oil back into it.
Right.
That's why we crisp it to begin with. So we can kind of take out of that quick and fast. And first and foremost, if we add some in, you'll just get some of the oils in there. It's not going to harm anything. It'll just soften this piece up, but it'll continue to add to the flavor of our dish. So
you're gonna choose just to wait a little bit longer.
I'm gonna choose to wait a little bit longer, and then we'll put some in, but then we'll keep some for the end because I want to be able to
make it look good.
Make it look good. That's right.
Do we want to take a quick minute?
We're ready. We're ready for market update if you're all ready.
Coming over, Steve. And then I think Pat is on too. Pat, if you're on, just wanted to say thanks for joining us. We love having you guys all be part of our Thursday night. So thank you so much. And
new home status. Lots of new home spec inventory. Quick move-ins. A lot of builders are shortening their build time now, trying to go from 1 year to 8 months, 6 months. A lot of builders are building homes that they're putting, upgrades that most people would pick. And so you're going to have a lot more to choose from, and it'll be a shorter amount of time. And they're still offering below market interest rates. We're seeing anywhere from 4.99 to 5.25 30-year fixed. So great opportunity out there in the new home market.
And I mean, the Fed just announced they aren't going to raise it right now. So we probably all have a month. I mean, but a month without raising it would be great. Yeah,
the Fed's already had, the market already had the interest rates built in. So we're already seeing from 6.99 down to 6.6. So we're in the mid sixes, and that's just straight out interest rate. A buy down from 6.5 to 5.5 would cost 4 discount points. So if you're doing a $500,000 loan for $20,000, you can buy the rates from 6.5 to 5.5. And we can show you how to do that strategically when we make offers for properties as well.
Exactly. And sellers are willing to do it. Builders are willing to do it. And sellers are willing to do that as part of the offer package.
You bet.
Because they know that they want to sell. So it's a great opportunity now before it does get raised to get your home sold, get a home to buy. And we'd love to help you with both.
If you have anybody that's in a lease, we're doing our lease satisfaction, helping a lot of people out that are, you know, they think they're in a lease, they've got a year or 6 or 7 months. We go in, negotiate with the landlord, buy them out, and allow you to move into the new home that may be within 60 days.
Right, because a lot of people don't know that they can make a move right now, and the seller will pay some closing costs, so they don't need all the cash they thought they needed to buy. So
And we had our wealth building.
We did, that was fun.
Month, and we've had a couple of clients that have reached out to us, especially for the cost segregation that you went through.
Yep.
Great opportunity to save on depreciation and get some quick depreciation within the first 5 years. So if anybody wants to get together with us, just reach out to Beth Ryder at kw.com.
Absolutely. And we'd love to help you out. We'd love to help you build your wealth. And we'd love to see you, you know, every month and join us for these cooking events. It's a lot of fun for us. And if you even just need a home valuation, we're happy to help with that. Let you know what's going on in the market in your neighborhood.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care, y'all. We'll be back to cooking.
Oh, it smells so good. That's the chorizo.
So you see here, starting to thicken up and tighten up nicely. Want to continue to add some more of our chicken stock.
It just smells amazing. And you can tell that the rice is cooking.
Yeah, you can see how it's fluffing up a little bit more. Give it some stirs here. Let's find and see where we're at. Got a little time to go there. So I'm not going to want to add our peas just yet. I'm not going to want to add our tomatoes just yet. Reason being is I don't want to break the tomatoes or the peas down to absolute pulp, right? So we want to let those hang out for a little bit.
And you're waiting really for the rice to get closer? Because that's your longest lead time item.
Yep. Just so that it's a little closer to being done, and then we'll add the other ingredients. We don't want it to wait till it's fully done because we want the flavors of the tomato and the pea to get into the paella itself. But if we added it now, we wouldn't have any tomato left.
Right. See, that would be.
If we added our peas, probably the same thing. I mean, even if they went straight from the freezer into here, they cook really, really fast. You know, like when you're doing fried rice, it's always one of the last things you put in there because you don't want them to be dead, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So you want to save the integrity of our peas and our tomatoes. So when we get to this process, adding our stock is going to become more and more frequent.
Yeah, you can tell it's soaking it up quicker.
Yep.
Hey, Chef.
Yes.
For the same reason that you held back on adding the chorizo, I was thinking that I would do that with the shrimp as well, being fearful that it would kind of overcook and get a little mealy. And if I held it back, it would give it more of a chance to be very crisp and not overcooked. What do you think about that?
So if you were gonna withhold it, I would still saute real quick and then add the shrimp a little bit later. As we're keeping adding liquid, so it's not like we're boiling the shrimp to a pulp anyway. So the liquid that we add and all the other ingredients help keep that shrimp from not really, really overcooking. But it's not a bad idea. If you were to add the shrimp right now, it would be tough because you wouldn't get the integrity that you're looking for. So if you wanted to wait, I would saute a little bit. And then like we did with the chorizo, I would saute, I would remove the shrimp, and then I would add it back in later. As this gets thicker and thicker, adding the shrimp back in is going to be a harder process because this is just going to get thicker and creamier as the rice cooks.
Yeah, particularly because you did have that lovely shrimp stock. So you did have the shrimp flavor imbued into the dish itself. So
correct.
There are options there. Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
In shop, typically you're not punching your rice. Your rice, you're constantly adding it into and stirring with the risotto.
Correct. So typically when making the paella, like I said, you add all your ingredients, you cover it and you pop it in the oven and you let it do its thing and it just works the way that it works. Since we are doing it with the arborio, it's more of like a risotto style. So we are cooking it on the stovetop in a faster fashion so that way we are adding liquid to it so that way the rice doesn't dry out and we continue to build the creaminess of the risotto of what we're doing here.
All good questions. We love it.
How's everyone else doing out there?
Exactly. How are your dishes coming along? Is anyone done? And don't forget that you want to share your dish with us.
So I just added some more water back into there. So if we need more, we'll probably need a little bit more from what it looks like, but we're getting really, really close.
This is now we do have a little bit more rice than recipe called for 1/4 cup. So
Thank you so much.
We're always cooking for
I learned
more.
a couple things that were awesome tonight.
Great.
Excellent.
I've made paella before, but it didn't turn out as good as this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm taking it that you've tried it then.
Lid on.
Actually, no, but it looks pretty darn good, and I'm about to try it.
She hasn't tried it yet. Just
It looks darn good.
Smell feature.
I know it. I mean, it's looking really good. That's
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
is.
Let me give it to my husband. I'll let you know.
There you go. So serving like a nice slice of focaccia bread or even garlic bread.
Yeah.
You're not going to really get a lot of moisture to dip the bread into, but it is just a nice accompaniment to go along with it.
Right.
If you wanted to serve any kind of vegetable like zucchini and yellow squash, asparagus would go well with this. Something that's going to be light and flavorful that'll help complement without overpowering. So like a broccoli would overpower your dish itself. So if that was a side dish, you would want to do a different vegetable. Mushrooms would be too pungent as well. So something
I like the idea of asparagus. That's definitely
would be really nice, right? So you could serve asparagus right on the side of this. So it would work perfectly. And it would help just complement the dish so that way it's not overpowering on one side or the other side.
Absolutely.
And that's really when you're pairing things like that, you really want to focus on that. Is this going to overpower? Is this going to ruin the taste of all of it? When picking a wine for your meal, you want to make sure that it's going to go well as opposed to overpowering with that. Like you're not going to want to sip on a bourbon while you're eating a piece of fish. Because it's just going to kill the integrity of the fish.
Absolutely.
Maybe not bourbon, but the fish for sure. So
that's right. It's either one or the other, not together.
That's right. So let's pop our lid here. I think we're going to be about ready to go ahead and add our tomato.
And how do we know that?
What time we're going to add our tomato? The taste factor.
Okay.
So we're wanting to make sure that the crunch is pretty much out of the rice. We don't want it to be crunchy. There we go.
Is there?
We're there.
You can also look at it too. It's puffed up quite a bit. I mean, you can really
see it's, what would you say? Twice the size?
Twice the size.
Easy, right?
Easy.
So we're going to go ahead and add our tomato. We'll go ahead and add our meat.
Looking pretty good.
You just throw it about half
Yeah, I did about a half a bag. As you see, look at the ratio.
Right.
It's a good ratio, right?
It's not all peas. It's
No, and you don't want that.
sprinkled in.
Yep. Add just a little more of this water here. Help finish it up. And paella isn't soupy like this, so you want to make sure we're not going to serve it to where it's real loose like this. Paella it's more of a firm rice style of a dish.
Okay. So we're gonna let more of that water
Yep.
absorb.
Got this one. So let's go ahead and let's add a little bit of our chorizo in here. Put it back in. We'll save a little bit for garnish.
By the way, maybe you discussed this earlier, but I see the recipe calls for hard chorizo. What's the word hard referring to?
That it's cured.
Yes.
So that's what it's referring to, as opposed to fresh chorizo, which would be more like a ground product.
Right. And the difference is the texture, you know.
The difference is see here how we have a nice chunk of the chorizo, like a pepperoni style, as opposed to if we had the ground chorizo, it would be, if we had the fresh chorizo, it'd be like ground. You would have that ground meat texture in there.
You're actually referring to a ground chorizo as actually ground like ground beef, like ground out of a casing. Oh,
right.
I don't
So fresh chorizo, correct.
Right. Thanks, looks great.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be missing the lobster and the poultry, but it's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
And you can always put whatever you want in it. I mean, you can put that in
I'll
it.
chicken tomorrow.
Beth, what do you think?
Oh, let's see.
Are we soft enough there? A little bit longer. What do you think?
I think it's
Just a touch longer?
longer.
Just a touch longer is what I was
but really
thinking.
good. Even the peas are still firm.
And that's why we wait.
Yeah.
Same with the tomato. If we would have added the tomato earlier, we would have just disintegrated them and you wouldn't have
Absolutely.
any.
No, it's very good. I mean, the flavor is great. Really good.
Let's pop our lid on. Let's let that tighten up just a little bit. Close this.
So our next cooking event is July 13th. Thursday, same time, 6 to 7:30. We're making a sticky adobo chicken lollipop.
So we're gonna make chicken lollipops. Sounds silly and crazy.
Does
It's
sound crazy.
a fancy chicken wing. If I may.
Okay.
Okay. And we're gonna make a sticky adobo sauce, which is like a hot, sticky chicken wing sauce. And we're gonna have a nice, cool mango and avocado salsa to go along with it. We'll make it more like a salad because we'll make it a little bit bigger instead of salsa, instead of cutting it so small.
Okay.
So we'll make it more like a salad to complement our chicken lollipop.
And we're doing a spicy pineapple margarita.
We are gonna just kick it up a notch with the spicy pineapple margarita.
Love that. That'll be a little fun.
tahini in there.
Like
Yeah.
that. So we're excited, and that's next month, you guys. We'll have 4th of July week, and then looking forward to seeing all of you on July 13th.
Yeah, and we'll teach you how to make the lollipop. I think we really wanted to show all of our guests that join how to do so. It's a tedious process. It's not as hard as it sounds once you see how to do one it's a lot easier to do the other one. You just can't be afraid to do it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So that's really all that there is to it. But just a great way to have at your party to take a normal chicken wing and take it to the next level for your guests come and they go, what in the world is this?
Right.
Little did they know it's just a normal chicken wing that we made Frenched, because that would be the technique that we do when you peel the meat off the bone.
Interesting. Well, I'm excited to try it. I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun for kids too.
Oh, absolutely.
Kids would love it. Great.
Take a look at this.
All right. Well, I think we're done.
We are ready. So as you can see, all that moisture has been absorbed by our rice. So as I pop the lid off, and we'll just kind of finish the rest of that off so that it's a little more firm. But you can see how it like holds its texture. That's what you're looking for. And that little addition of the shrimp stock, what a great way to really brighten up this dish.
Yeah, smells fantastic, tasting really good.
Right.
Of course, we always get excited about seeing how to plate it.
So in this application, I think a vessel like this works really, really well.
I do too.
Right. So a pasta bowl would be great. If we put it on a plate, it's just going to run all over the place.
Right.
So,
and not look as pretty.
exactly. So we really want to focus on that. So
And you work hard on the dish, right? So you want it to look great.
You always eat with your eyes first, right? Do a nice helping here. You want to clean the rim of your plate. Let's see if I can't find the shrimp here. So our little chorizo. And you can do a wedge. I did a tweel. Well, right now. Just like such.
Wow, that looks amazing. I'm going to scoot this over here so you've got your phone. Don't forget to share your pictures, you guys. Everybody bring their pictures and share with us. We'd love to see how all of your dishes turned out. And from our home to yours, you guys, thank you so much for joining tonight.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Enjoy your dinner, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
Have a happy Father's Day.
Absolutely. Happy Father's Day to all of you out there, and take care. Have a great night.